The Rock responds to WrestleMania absence criticism, plus Cody Rhodes' heel turn. Got an update on that for you. And WWE could be making a big change for WrestleMania 42. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. We're in a different part of Cultaholic Towers because where we normally do our news, Andrew Hodkinson here is cooking up something disgusting.
Oh, it's smelly, everybody. Hell in a Smell 6 coming very, very soon, so look forward to that. Hence why we are here right now.
We are here in our... We'll give you updated on that one when we know more. But meanwhile, let's talk about something else that smells a bit, and that is what The Rock is cooking or not cooking.
Yeah.
You know, well, I guess my work here is done.
Yeah, I guess it is.
You didn't do anything. Didn't I? So The Rock was absent from WrestleMania, in case you hadn't noticed. And boy howdy, was Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio cross about this. His vein-bursting rant / tirade has been all over my timeline and caught the ear of my wife as I was listening to it in the bathroom. And she went, "Who's that going off?" I went, "It's just Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio." So Dave explodes in a now widely seen rant about the absence of The Rock from WrestleMania, lambasting him for starting a storyline that he wasn't there to finish, and then, in Dave LaGreca's words, throwing Triple H under the bus when the creative for the match wasn't what The Rock liked. And this has caught lots of eyes, including the eyes of The Rock, who popped into the comment section on the gram.
Yes, he said, "Hi Dave, the business is a complete work. Always has been, always will be. Every aspect of it, every match, every interview. Please join me, Cody, Cena, Brian, and the rest of us for our creative discussions so you can expand your perspective. Until then, stop ranting. It's not healthy, my friend. Enjoy the show. P.S. Tell Bubba I have Grand Marina and Hush Puppies all for us."
Oh, that's very kind. So Hush, does he mean slippers?
Maybe. I thought no, that's a slush puppy I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Maybe he wrote it wrong. Maybe he does have slush puppies.
He does have slush puppies for us all as well.
Brought your slush puppies from the cinema. They cost £18 each. Interesting in that comment by The Rock, where he mentions, in terms of the creative discussions, Cody, he mentions Cena, he mentions Brian, but doesn't mention Paul.
Oh, yeah.
He mentioned a Paul Triple H Levesque.
That's a good point, yeah.
Brian here being Brian Gewirtz, who is the Rock's assigned creative writer.
Yep.
He was the one when, as it would turn out, the Wrestling Observer and other people were saying like, "Oh, The Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania," and he's like, "Stop lying."
Oh.
He was kind of the head gaslighter, was Dave on a few occasions. Not Dave. So Brian was head gaslighter on a few occasions with that one. But The Rock's responding to it was in a very calm and cool and collected manner, unlike Dave LaGreca's rant, which was quite something. Now, a lot of the things that were said over the last few months, so from August onwards, about The Rock's WrestleMania status, that came from Fightful, that came from the Wrestling Observer and a few other places, turned out to be the case, as The Rock revealed when he was on the Pat McAfee show.
Yes.
Just the other day. And one of those things that kind of came to light in the wake of that interview was The Rock suggesting that down the line there are plans certainly being worked on for a Cody Rhodes heel turn.
Yeah.
And these have been addressed as well by the Wrestling Observer.
They have, yeah. Dave Meltzer addressing this, as Tom mentioned there. The Rock's comments, obviously, about Cody Rhodes turning heel down the line, with no plans in place currently to turn Cody heel. Meltzer adds that Rock could force that to change, but as it stands, nobody is under the impression that a Cody Rhodes heel turn is the direction WWE creative is going in.
In terms of The Rock's WrestleMania absence in general, Dave Meltzer added, quote, "I did believe he would be there, but I was always told he is not scheduled. One time, I was even told if you really want him there, essentially go in there and report that he's absolutely not coming because he might get so mad that he'll come."
That's a fantastic quote right there.
So you just give it this and go, "Definitely not going to be there. Well, I'll show you.
That's it, isn't
I'll
it?
turn
That's
up.
it. Yeah.
Look how wrong you are. Oh no. Well, you really showed us." There's a real contentious relationship, more than I've ever known it, between sort of the WWE product and wrestling reporters and aggregators.
It very much feels that way. Sort of, as we mentioned in the first video, the whole build to WrestleMania 41, sort of Triple H's comments comments on certain things as well, and with stuff here too. Yeah, it feels like there is a bit of a contentious relationship between the two.
And we'll see that, no doubt, with more of that to come. I think we're going to see more red herrings thrown out there to reporters and people on the inside, which will be aggregated by folk like us. We'll see, no doubt, other situations where a story will be shared and people higher up in WWE will go, "No, it's not. Shut up." So we'll see a lot more of that, even in the run-up to it, with a lot of the conversation, the discourse around reporters and critics and stuff being, "Just shut up and watch it."
Yeah.
That's kind of, and I don't think this is changing anytime soon. I think this is the new era of it. And you know what? I'm kind of here for the ride as well.
That's what it's all about. We like doing all this kind of stuff, don't we? Because we love wrestling so much that we always like to talk about things and speculate about things and this, that, and the other. That's a big part of the fun of it all, you know?
That is the fun of it all, indeed. And we'll continue to talk about it. For example, this John Cena heel turn, what we saw at Elimination Chamber. Details on that from The Observer today.
Yeah, The Observer reports that John Cena was the one who decided to turn heel at Elimination Chamber as opposed to at WrestleMania 41 itself. The original plan was to see the Rock segment at Elimination Chamber play after the first or second match. I believe it was even sort of like advertised to be like that as well. But when it was locked in that Cena would turn heel on the night of the Chamber, the segment was then moved to the main event.
Now, this has come to light again because one of the things that was brought up on this interview The Rock did on the Pat McAfee show was The Rock saying Rock wanted Cody to turn heel in that segment, and then it was Triple H that said, "Why don't we turn Cena heel and let's do it this way?" But initially the plan was going to be that the turn would happen at WrestleMania, and it was John Cena actually went, "No, let's." I think, and according to a few reports, it was a few days before the Chamber that it was locked in that Cena would turn heel and he'd do it at the Chamber, and that's why this segment was moved to the end of the night. So presumably, had Cena not stepped up and went, "Actually, I don't want to turn at Mania, I want to turn at Chamber," if that conversation hadn't happened, that segment would have been a bit weird, because it would have been Rock coming out to say, "Hey, Cody, sell your soul to me, you bugger," and Cody would have gone, "Nah," end.
But
end of segment.
Yeah, it's a really tough one,
Cody
isn't
giving
it?
The Rock a crossroads or something.
Yeah, or maybe actually, to kind of like cement it, just be like, right, that's that sort of thing done. It's really difficult, isn't it, after sort of knowing the ending, the outcome of WrestleMania 41 and how it all played out, and sort of like people's displeasure with that. Not everybody was displeased with that, but a lot of people were displeased with that. And then throughout the build from Elimination Chamber to Cena turning heel, up to WrestleMania 41, and no mention of The Rock as it is anyway. Maybe, do you think a heel turn would have worked better without The Rock sort of involvement? Because then all of us would have been kind of like not expecting him to come out at the same time.
The thing is, I don't think it would have been better or worse, because you look at the way that the Cena heel turn went down, you could have done that without The Rock.
Yes.
Because Rock didn't play into any of the build for WrestleMania beyond doing the do it. Apart from that, and like he didn't really play into it. So and Cena's whole motivation for turning heel wasn't "I've sold my soul to The Rock." It was I'm breaking up with all of you lot because you're all rubbish, and I'm not going to do anything now that panders to you in any way, shape, or form. You don't need The Rock for that.
No, that's it, and that's why I feel like it's felt a little inconsistent, because as I mentioned, there's been no real talk about The Rock at all from John Cena's side of things, like building up to WrestleMania 2. So it's a bit of a funny one. It feels like some people obviously wanted one thing, some wanted the other, and then it's not really played out the way as consistently as some would have maybe hoped it to.
What? We should just shut up and enjoy the ride.
We should just
shut up and enjoy the ride, honestly. I tell you, the ride got a little bit long last week with WrestleMania 42. Just ask Booker T, who's nodding off during the Hall of Fame. But we had the post-WrestleMania NXT take place in Las Vegas. And this was discussed on Wrestling Observer Live, and it looks as if it might be the last one that we do, as terms of like an NXT after Mania in the host seat. City.
Yeah, so it's reported that WWE noted how, quote, tired the crowd were by the time the NXT After Mania rolled around. And as a result, the NXT After WrestleMania will return to the Performance Center immediately after WrestleMania 42 weekend, as opposed to having another night in the host city. Instead, there's reports that WWE are planning to put on the NXT before WrestleMania in New Orleans instead, to still have that hype going towards WrestleMania.
So I think I get that as well, because I think the Raw After Mania is a really good place to kind of put the exclamation mark on what had been like a really full week of wrestling. The NXT After WrestleMania I thought was a really good show in general, but yeah, you could tell that the crowd weren't as...
You could feel it.
It's a long week.
Very long week with, and it's asking a lot of people as well, isn't it? Because these shows aren't necessarily, especially WrestleMania, and all the things surrounding it too that they had, they're not the shortest things in the world.
No, not at all. And especially when you have like think about WrestleMania Saturday, you had Stand and Deliver, you had WrestleMania Saturday, the entirety of that. You then had the WrestleMania after party.
Yep.
You then had to get up and do there was other indie shows that took place on the morning of that. You had WrestleMania Sunday, you had the roast of WrestleMania, you had the WrestleMania after party after that, you had the Raw after WrestleMania, then the NXT after WrestleMania. Yeah, there's a lot, and the One Dead Man show was in there somewhere, as was the Hall of Fame, as was the SmackDown before Mania.
Yeah.
As was the entire GCW collective.
Yep.
Like, there was a lot. There was a lot.
Was.
And I think anything that you can do to kind of cut a little bit of slack to the fans, I think that's probably the right thing to do as well. I would prefer, I think, a big bombastic go-home show before NXT.
Yes,
Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
I think do it that way. I think as opposed to having one that prolongs the week that follows it.
I agree.
That's probably the way that you should do it. For the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can either enjoy the ride or join us at cultaholic.com. Keys.
Love you, bye.